Hello, this is Telomere. Welcome to another repair video. In this video, we are looking at this PlayStation 5 aftermarket controller, and I believe that it is considered a PS5 Pro aftermarket controller since it's got those special buttons on the back. The customer is complaining that it's not charging, it's not holding a charge. So the very first thing I like to do when I hear that, I like to go and test to see what kind of a charge it's taking. Also, I like to take a look and see what the charge port looks like inside of there. So before I even stick my tester in there, let's just give this a little push. The connector's loose. It's very, very loose. That's not reassuring. Now, I don't know if that's just how it is, but I don't feel like that's normal. Let's just plug it in and see what happens. It's drawing not much, about 0.6 amps. It's very little, 60 to 70 milliamps. Not a whole lot. I do see some lights up here. I'll just give this a little bit of a wiggle and see if it changes anything. The amp draw is decreasing a little bit. Now the issue might simply be that the battery is not connected, and that would explain why it's acting the way it's acting. So let's unplug it. Let's take it apart and see whether or not there's an issue with the battery. Now, I've never worked on one of these before, so I don't know how to get any of this off. It looks like this is supposed to twist and then it's supposed to come off. That's what it looks like to me. I might be completely wrong, but it has that look and that feel. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put some sort of pry tool in there and see if I can get it to come up. Get to move. You got the issue also, like usual. That's interesting. This isn't snapped back into place right there. See that little gap? It's not clipped in. The customer worked on this himself as well. He changed out these. Or I think it was not these. It wasn't the thumbsticks themselves, but the part underneath. He decided to change out himself. I have heard that is doable, but I'm not seeing any screws. But I have seen how the PlayStation 5 Pro controllers come apart, and they're supposed to be quite modular. The whole thing should come apart relatively easily. Hence why I keep going back to this and wondering how this opens up. There's got to be a way to get it to open. Oh, maybe this pushes in. There. Okay, it's a start. Now what? Is there something underneath there? No? It kind of looks like that. Maybe that is for a microphone or something. Let's just get in here and see what happens. The lack of visible screws, you can never really tell what's happening in here. With the Xbox controllers, I'm quite used to seeing these little panels come up and then there's screws underneath. So maybe it's the same with this. I'm not getting anywhere. So I'm just going to cut the camera for a moment, and when I figure out something, I'll get back to you. Okay, I think I found something. I was going along here and I pulled away at something here and then this popped out. So there's a screw right there. Okay, so we're definitely on the right track, and it does explain a lot why there's this gap right here. So it's just a matter of going along here, and then that pops up like that. Okay. Just wiggle it out. That explains a lot. You see this right here? Right along here, there's no gap. This is all one solid unit. I could have pried it away at this for ages and wouldn't have gotten anywhere at all. Right here, I see that he has broken the clips that hold that part of the frame down. Let's get those screws out. There's only 2 screws that I'm seeing so far. So how does this come out? Does it come out all as one module here? Or am I missing something else that needs to come out? Maybe I gotta pull these out. So there's a connector right on the board itself that has been destroyed. I can see So I think it's this one right here. That's this little sensor right here. It's had its connector busted off. Yeah, that cable is super mashed. You see it right there? I'll try zooming in. Right there. See how mashed that is? Wow. That's supposed to, this little ribbon cable is supposed to connect into it just like this one is. That's insane. So you guys are probably screaming at me if you've ever worked on these before. I am sure, because I had to do a bit of research to figure this out. It's there's screws buried behind the R1 and the L1 triggers, and that's the problem. Now these don't work the same way as the standard PS5 controllers, but they are supposed to have screws behind them, and I'm seeing them already. That's been my issue this whole time. I just needed to pry those out. Okay, that's done. There they are, hiding all this time. This one actually has some sort of thing on it that's supposed to like indicate that the device has been opened before. That's interesting. Stickers are a little annoying. And that's it. Now I should be able to get into this. But there is the issue of still this having a wire connected to it, a ribbon cable. So if I just be careful and pry this up gently, slowly, I'll be able to show you that. The reason why is it's because of these buttons once again. So careful. There we are. So you see that ribbon cable? How do I get it out?
Well, guys, guess what? Yeah, I'm just tossing this right here in the middle of the video. I wrote a book, Canis Alpha. I didn't write it alone. I actually wrote it with W.K. Greyling, who has published multiple books. And this is my first official ever published book. You can find it on Amazon as well as on Audible. I do have links in the video description if you want to check those out. So here's the trailer that I made for it using various assets that I found all over the place, as well as visual effects and some really neat sound effects as well. Hope you guys like it.
In a future plagued with natural disasters, criminals known as scavs raid damaged cities. Their most important rule, don't help the survivors. When one scav breaks that rule, he changes the world.
Let's get back to the video.
My answer is, instead of getting it out, I'm going to disconnect it by removing it from the back of the phone. Phone. I work on phones too much. Removing it from the back housing of the controller. There we go. That's easier. I'm not going to tear anything this way. Now, the customer was, as I was saying earlier, doing work on it himself and has done some damage. This cable right here, for example, it's been somewhat banged up. It's not flat anymore. I'm going to guess that it was probably supposed to, I'm not sure. It's not supposed to be up there though. Okay, so let's find out why this is not charging. I got to get this battery out. The battery is clearly plugged in. So what that tells me is most likely the port that the battery goes into was likely damaged in the process. So I'm going to get this little shield off. Get that out of the way. I'm going to take a look. I'm going to take a look at two things. The port. And take a look at the port itself for the battery. Oh, this is stuck to... That's annoying. Okay, I got to get this off. There. I'm just going to leave this in here just so that I know what that's for. Just gently put it over there. Okay. Now I can pull up this. That's not right. So I'm going to see if I can show this to you guys. I'll zoom in. right here, there is a cable, and there's a little dot of solder at the end there, and that's supposed to power these buttons on the back, and it's disconnected. It's supposed to be underneath that port, and I think right here, I think that one of those wires for the port is disconnected. This one right here. I think it's disconnected. I'm going to have to take a look at this underneath the microscope, but before I do that, I'm going to take the rest of this controller out. This board, this motherboard, I'm going to take the rest of it out first because I do want to take a look at the charge port as well. It's extremely loose. Like this is just this cable is just fitted in. There's nothing special about it. Here, okay. Pliers to the rescue. If there's any of the equipment, supplies, parts, etc. that I'm using in this video, for the most part, I do have Amazon affiliate links in the video description where you can find them. I've got them labeled. I do make a small, tiny little profit off of those links when you use them. So this right here as well, it's just pressure fitted in. I'm going to take this board out, put it right here, because I'm going to have to take the whole thing over. I have to desolder also these Taptic motors as well in order to get the whole motherboard out. So I'm going to switch over right now to my microscope.
Now, unfortunately, I lost the recordings here for this, but I do have the microscope bit. So here we go. Right here, I'm looking at the cable that we saw earlier that had been really badly munched. I was looking through, and I didn't really find any damage here. It looks a little beat up, but it's not terrible. I did see some areas that were concerning, though. But I moved on from there after there's not much else that I can do with that. I'm on over to here now. This is the connector for the battery. You can see that disconnected there, and it looks pretty rough. It looks like somebody's done work on this in the past. The solder is cracked there, though the pin doesn't seem to be moving. Still, that is pretty concerning. I'm going to remove this tape right here and take a look at the other pins underneath. Now, this seems to be fine. All the others, they're solid. Just the one there is a bit cracked. So we got to solder this cable down, if nothing else. I'm just going to touch up this pin. Put a little bit of solder on it, just clean it up, and then I'm going to reconnect that. Okay. Good. Now it doesn't fit perfectly, but I just add a whole bunch of extra solder here, and it connects in pretty well. It's I would like it to be a lot closer, but that's about as good as I can do. And I end up cleaning it up a little bit more with a little bit of flux, as you can see here, and it does clean it up pretty well. It's not perfect, but it is connected. From there, we're looking at the port. What do we see? There's some loose pins here. I find lots of loose pins here, actually. They're all loose, every single one of them. So I got to go in here and get my soldering iron out. I use the one that has a curved tip, as you can see here. And it didn't really take very well. I had to add a whole lot of extra solder onto my tip just because it wasn't providing the necessary heat to get into the pins. If I had applied a little bit of heat from my heat gun, that would have helped a lot, but I wasn't thinking about that at the time. So, oh well. Moving on. I end up with a nasty bridge at this point right here, which I expected. It wasn't easy to deal with, but yeah, it's there. We dealt with it in a bit. All the pins I get soldered down pretty darn well. As you can see here, I end up using a wick to pull away the excess solder, and it does work pretty well, but there is a small speck that's left behind, and I didn't notice it at the end. Right here, it's kind of still visible, and I'm trying to work it out, and I think right here that I've got it all, but I don't. Later on, as I'm just doing a double check to make sure everything is good, right about here is where I notice it. There's that little piece still hanging out there. Also, I noticed that the port still is a little bit wiggly. It's not perfect, but it's a lot better. And all the pins are solid. I did check that. But that really is all there is to this bit. We can move back to testing.
Let's get this plugged back in, if nothing else at this point. All right, that's in. I have a feeling that this cable right here is supposed to be flipped in behind, or maybe down like this, or something like that. The cable's torn. Do I bother fixing that? It's 3 cables. I'd have to reinforce it. Okay, let's just deal with the first problem. Does it charge? Is the work that I did on it, is it fixed? See if at least it charges. I feel like we're starting to go down a rabbit hole with how many problems this controller has. Ugh. No, it's still not working. I'm gonna bet that probably the charge port is busted somewhere on the inside, and those pins are just straight up borked. It's gone. It's dead. It's just got the tiniest amount of light coming through. I'm not doing any more repair on this. It is what it is, and what it is very busted. That's painful. I'm pretty sure that there must be some internal damage at the back of the connector, right in that plastic bit where there must be something that's been sheared through. It's still wiggly. There's clearly a cable that's also torn. I don't know how I didn't spot that, or maybe I caused it just from wear and tear of removing it. That shouldn't happen, but the cable already was in bad shape. So I'm going to call it here. You got to know when to stop, and this is where I'm stopping. So unfortunately, that's all there is for this video. It really breaks my heart when I can't fix something like this. I know that I could probably replace the charge port, but after replacing the charge port, there would be a ribbon cable that needs to be replaced, and there's a possibility that maybe there's something else that I'm not seeing that needs to be replaced. And then there's that other cable that's connected to a sensor. The connector for that one is also busted. So there's no fixing it. That's just all there is to it. I'm going to go and work on the customer's PS5 after this, because the HDMI port on it is also not working properly. So if you guys liked the video, please do leave a like, and if you want to see more of my stuff, subscribe. We'll see you guys all in another video. Bye.